we've got some new Enfield information coming from the devs, but I just wanted to reference a couple of things as well before we get into talking about that. It's somewhat related, right? Okay. But obviously, if you didn't know, you probably do know, we've got an event started on the 12th. Well, we've got 2 events started on the 12th, actually, for when the PlayStation test starts, the PS5 test starts. That starts on the 12th as well, if you didn't know. And we've got 2 events coming to the beta, which is cool to see. One, I've got to be honest, I'm not that fussed about it, right? I just, hey, I've got to keep it a book. I have the same energy for all games, and when it comes to photo events, I couldn't give a fuck. All right, but we've got an event starting at 10 a.m. on the 12th, right? And this is going to be, looks like some sort of a combat event by the looks of it. And you're going to be able to get a bunch of stuff: marker perseverance, advanced cognitive carrier, arms inspection set, and proto-hedron. And the participation requirements: complete the main chapter mission, chapter 1, process 2, paving the way to unlock the event, and authority level 40. And then it's the Umbral Monument Challenge with 1 series containing 3 stages. Each stage is divided into normal and agony mode. So we've got a normal and a hard mode. Complete the normal mode to unlock the significantly more challenging agony mode. So hopefully we got some difficult content. Complete every stage of a series in normal mode to an engraved medal, and then you get a better medal when you do the agony mode as well. There's one thing I wanted to point out here though that's missing in the rewards, which is interesting because it can kind of be a double-edged sword, right? And that's no pool currency, where you'd be like, oh, no pool currency. That kind of blows, because this game in the beta form doesn't really have the most pool currency, let's be honest, right? It has to be better on launch, and this is what I kind of wanted to reference this, because it has to be better on launch. Otherwise, myself, I'm gonna have a bit of an issue with it anyway, right? But we've got this one here, which is a photo event that starts at the same time on the 12th as well, which again, I couldn't care less about photo events, right? I'll do it because we get pool currency in this one. So we got Carly's Fairy Tale. So during the event, complete the camera challenges to earn events that include Carly's Fairy Tale, Portrait Frame, Orables, and Marker Perseverance. So a lot of people say, oh, the fact that there's no pool currency behind something that maybe some people might not be able to clear, although I think most people will be able to clear, could say that's good, then I'd like the idea of just getting some extra currency would be cool. But there's a part of me that's like, if there's no pool currency in the event, right, especially in a combat event, does that mean the devs are forced to make the event actually good, right, in this Umbral Monument? Because a lot of the time when it comes to events in gacha games, right, the events themselves can kind of be trash throwaway events, right? As long as there's a good bit of pool currency at the end of the event, a lot of people will just be like, whatever, I got myself my pools, I can deal with it, right? But I think if there's no pool currency in a combat event or a potential story event or whatever the event might be, right, a challenge event, whatever you want to call it, if there's no pool currency, there's kind of a bit more onus to actually make it worth bothering with, right? Because if there's no pool currency and it's not great, nobody's going to interact with it, right? So that's an interesting fact to me, but I will be honest, with the fact of how little currency we get in the beta, it would just be nice to know that events are going to be a good source of getting currency, because I'm okay with the game launching if it doesn't have the best in-game currency, but events kind of offset that, right? If events and endgame offset the in-game pool currency, alright, cool. We're still able to get them by playing the game, right? But it's a little bit worrying, that is, I'm not going to lie. But you can get them from this, and you're just going to go around, take pictures. You know, it's a camera event, right? So we're getting pool currency from that, but not from the Umbral Monument Challenge. So I just wanted to bring that up because we do have a post from the developers over on Twitter, right, guys? So I don't know what this is here. It says ending soon. I don't know why they open it up with that, because wild, right? You look at this and you go, brother, I thought the beta was going to be the longest ever beta. Ending soon. It's not right away. It's on the 29th of December. But that means I think this beta is the same length as the last beta, I think, right? Because I'm pretty sure the last beta was, I think it was 32 days. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I might be thinking about the original test. I don't know. But I'm sure it was. So, we've got the beta's ending on the 29th, right? Which is shorter than the banner length, right? Because altogether, the banners was going to be, what, 45 days, 15 days a pop? So, it's hard to say whether the banners as well, is that the length of the banners when they come out? Or is that on launch, I mean, or is that specifically for the beta? The fact that the beta ends before the banners would actually end makes me think that's probably what they're going to be on launch. I don't know. But anyway, let's have a look at this post here then. Arknights Endfield Beta Test 2 will conclude on December 29th at 2025 at 1 AM UTC 5-5. At that time, the game servers for this test will be shut down and you will no longer be able to log into the game. During the test period, we have received a great deal of feedback and suggestions through official community channels. Hopefully, to listen to this. I haven't filled out the survey myself, so I'm hoping you can still do that. I was going to wait until the end of the beta to do that personally, or I'll have to check, is it still available? I should have had a look just because it's something I wanted to get a bit more information myself before I put it out officially. There's critiques I want to talk about with the game, but when I'm officially sending it off, I want a bit more information before I do that, because obviously putting it in a video matters less than actually sending it off to the developers, right? So, channel surveys and customer support. We sincerely thank everyone for participating in the test and active in providing input. The project team will continue to refine the game and optimize the gaming experience with more new content already in development. Great to hear. Dev speak, but great to hear. Further game updates, please follow their official community and social media accounts. Please again, thank you for your continued interest and support for Arknights Endfield. It's a weird time to post this, alright? You feel like this would be posted like the last few days of the beta. Like, it's still over 21 days away. And they're like, it's ending soon, guys. Thanks for coming. You know? So there's almost a month left in the beta. And they're like, yeah, let's wrap it up, boys. Let's wrap it up, boys. So we've got a Devcom here as well, which I wanted to go through. But I just wanted to reference a few things. This isn't like an in-depth what Arknights needs and what the beta's lacking and a review of the beta, because I haven't played enough of the beta to give it a review, right? There's a lot of people who are doing reviews on day one of the beta, and I just think that's kind of, how'd you do that, right? You haven't even got much of the information, right? So, do it after Wooling if it allows you. That's the plan. I want to at least get to Wooling, which time's just been a bit of an issue for me since the beta started. It's unfortunate I haven't been able to play it as much as I've wanted, but I played it enough to know that I still love this game. Combat, brilliant. Team building, the potential seems amazing. I love the fact that this game really encourages experimentation with your team building. And you actually have to read kits here, because if you don't, you're not going to be getting the most out of this game. The combat can go from kind of being really slow and not much happening if you're not building the right team, to actually being fucking cracked and fun as fuck, right? Really enjoyable, incredibly impactful, and just super satisfying in my opinion. So combat-wise, I'm fine with, right? But I suppose this is related to combat. At the moment, all we've got in the game is kind of that extraction mode, which it's cool, right? But my worry is, we're talking about pull currency in the game. I think it's a genuine worry for this game, right? People will talk about the gacha system. That, for me, it's not an issue, really. Personally, at least. Anyway, I don't have any major issues with the gacha where I'm like, right, they've got to overhaul that. But I do have a worry that we're not going to be getting enough pulls in the game, because if the beta's anything to go off, it's going to be slim pickings on launch. Now, of course, on launch, we're more likely to have events and more content to access, so more pulls will probably be available, right? But if this is what we're supposed to be expecting in the honeymoon phase, it's a little bit low, right? It's a little bit low, and that's a problem. I've said it about other games, right? The gacha system itself can be the best in the world. If the game's tight, don't matter. If they've got the worst system in the world and the game's really generous, you've got a pretty good fucking system on your hands, if you ask me, because it don't matter, because you're able to access as much as you possibly can because the game's really generous. So far, we haven't really got that. And we've got like one kind of endgame. We're getting 2 events, but only one of them's going to give us pull currency, which again is a double-edged sword, because it's like, ooh, that could mean I have to really work on the events, but it still literally means less pulls, which is a problem, right? No ways about this. If the game comes out with the pull currency we've got now, it's going to be a tough time for low spenders and free-to-play players, right? It really is. The gacha system's set up in a way that kind of benefits low spenders and free-to-play players. If there's no currency to be get on the game, it might almost be a worse system in a sense, because of the way the spark system works. You're going to really struggle. You are going to have to really be picking and choosing, like, being incredibly on top of that. Like, it's a good thing to do anyway. It's a good thing to get into, picking and choosing banners and making sure that you've got enough. But even if you're doing that, it might be a little bit tight, right? Like, where I've got up to in the game at the minute, I'm like 40 pulls in, which is kind of crazy. Now, I know I'm not as far as most people, but still, you know, it's a bit tight, and I think it's an important thing. Also, on launch, we've got to have 120 FPS plus. Give us unlimited frames. Give us 120. The game needs it. We've only got 60 at the minute. That might change. But the game looks gorgeous. It plays gorgeous, right? Please don't limit me to 60 FPS when I'm on a 4090 and a 13900K, right? I want to be able to play the game at 120 FPS. Give me a dedicated training room where I can go and play on test dummies, aggressive ones, static ones, so I can... This game is all about team building. Allow me to experiment in a controlled environment where I can set everything up and I can build those teams to the best they can be and then go and take them out and take them into content as well. Going back to the endgame stuff and rain pools, we haven't seen it, right? Because obviously it's a beta, but I'm confident that come launch we are going to have something else to do at the endgame, right? And then after a couple of months, we should have, I would hope, a couple of things to do, right? Especially coming from a company that has IS, right? You know, that has all of the stuff that you can do as endgame in Arknights. And I know it's a different game and we've spoke about this and we've got to expect different things, but I would at least hope that philosophy will transfer into Enfield, because otherwise, as I say, it doesn't matter if you're not getting pool currency then, because if you're not getting characters, who cares if there's no content to use them in, right? Which, as I say, I'm quite confident that we're going to have plenty of content to use them. But it's just, you know, we can only go off what we've seen so far in the beta, right? And I think these are genuine issues, right? Not enough pool currency. What's endgame looking like? Are we going to have more? Are events going to give us a good, flow of currency as well? Because I think it's important, right? I'm okay with the game being kind of meager in what it offers you if they balance it in events. Then it makes events awesome, because if you have good events and they give you a bunch of pool currency, happy days. It's all good, right? It's all good. Also, at the minute, I think this is going to be something that's on launch, right? Keybinds. Give me as much customization as I can possibly get, right? I want all of that. I'd also love it as well. I don't know if I'll ever get it. Bringing the Arknights thing of having everybody being able to speak different languages all at once, that'd be kind of fucking awesome. I don't know if I'll do that, but it'd be kind of cool. Even if it's not in the cutscenes and it's just in game. I don't think that's in the game, right? I don't think that's in the game. Yeah. Honestly, Deck will get 120 FPS option to PC. Best I can imagine, 120 FPS exclusive app. Really? Dude, if you do that, I'll be crashing out, man. I'm telling you now. I will be crashing out. I'll be crashing out if the pool currency is terrible as well. And I'll tell you what, I'll be crashing out, chat. Right, I'll be crashing out. You saw that camera event, right? I'm okay with a camera event if it's nestled in between a bunch of other cool events. If you hit me up with 50% of my events for a patch is camera events, crashing out, all right? I'm crashing out, okay? I just want to put that out there. The switch between language and English dub like they're doing OG Arknights. Okay. All right then. So yeah, that's just a few things that I'd like to see just from my experience so far, right? I think a good criticism, or a fair criticism that a lot of people have had as well about the tutorials. I think they are, I don't know if they are a little bit hand-holdy, especially the first set of tutorials. They get a little bit better after that. They don't hold your hand so much, but the first ones do it a little bit too much, right? A little bit too much. I think they need to dial that down a little bit. I like the fact that they tried to introduce the factory into the story and connect it, so you feel like you're having to involve yourself in the factory via the story. I think the way they've gone about it now, though, I think they have maybe hampered the storytelling just a little bit. I think it's maybe dragged things down just a little bit, if I'm honest. Those first few hours, I had a blast with, right? But I'm incredibly biased because I love the game. But I could definitely see, if I took my unbiased hat off, this will filter a lot of people. It will. If you're not into Enfield off the bat as much as I am, and coming from, well, I came from Enfield into Arknights, but I've got a love for the world now, right? And the lore and all that. And I know it's a different game, but it's allowed me to ignore some things that other people wouldn't be able to ignore. And I think that's a thing that people won't be able to ignore, if you ask me. Because, once you start being allowed to do stuff for the base building, the way everything's set up in the base building, right, and you can check your build chains and everything, and how everything connects together, the tutorials themselves aren't really necessary, but then they are, because some people do need that level of hand holding, right? And I'm not gonna lie, plenty of times in games, a game will tell me connect A to B equals C, and then I'll be like, what? we all do it, right? So it's a hard one, right? I think it needs to be there because if not, that could filter people. If there's too much of it, that can filter people. This is a game that's got so many systems that have the potential to filter people. I think they just need to tweak the balance just a little bit. I don't think it's going to be changed for launch how much it's interconnected with the story, but maybe they could just dial down the tutorials a little bit at the start. I think that would probably help a lot of people. But for me, it wasn't a big issue, if I'm honest. But let's have a look at this post anyway then. So, Arknights Endfield Beta Test 2, Devcom, Alt3, Dear Administrators, since the launch of Beta Test 2, our team has been gathering your valuable feedback through multiple channels, including surveys, customer support, and your community discussions. You've shared important opinions on early tutorials and progression flow, what we've just talked about, right, which I think is an important thing, and I think that's going to be a thing that might get tweaked, right? Whether it happens for launch, who knows, but at some point it will. Combat and stat design, gacha resource acquisition, which, again, I'm glad they've acknowledged this now. Like, we've just spoke about this, but this is important. Whether they rectify it is a different thing, but this is incredible. When you compare this to Stellasaur's launch, right, and everybody was screaming, would be nice if maybe the store prices were a little bit better, and maybe I can get a few more pulls. Not the actual gacha system, but those two things. And they were like, what? Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about that. So I do like the fact that it's mentioned. Doesn't mean they're going to fix it, but right, at least they've spoke upon it, right? At least they've spoke upon it because it's an important factor for me. Probably the most important factor, if I'm honest. UI and visual presentation, which for me, I like. I like the UI in the game. The visual presentation is gorgeous as well. I've got no issues with that at all. As well as multi-platform compatibility and performance. And we'd like to express our sincere thanks to all of you. Yeah, for the most part, the game's performed well. I've had a few frame drops here and there when you're loading into areas and you first start playing. I think that's usually normal. It's a beta as well, so I can accept that. For the most part, though, even in deep bits of combat and there's a lot of stuff going on, game runs fine. Buttery smooth for me. But again, I'm on a 4090 and 13900K, so not exactly the typical setup, if you will. Every single piece of feedback carries your criticism and expectations for Arknights Endfield. From the moment the test went live, we began analysing player experience issues and working on corresponding optimizations and adjustments. This is why it is good to be critical about the games you like, guys. And even on the gacha stuff as well, I disagree with some people's viewpoints that it's the worst gacha ever. But we need people putting out their opinions out there because the devs listen to this stuff, right? I do believe they go around channels as well on YouTube and listen, posts on Twitter. Obviously, surveys and direct communication is better, but, you know, I believe they do this sort of stuff. Well, they obviously do because I think it is kind of poignant that we've got little dodge in the game. I think that it's got to be, right? It's got to be the whole conversation about the dodge. Some of these improvements have already been completed on our end and are now internal verification and review phase. Okay, some have been completed. What are those, Hypergryph? I hope it's gacha resource acquisition. I hope it's gacha resource acquisition and 120 FPS as well. But yeah, I glaze Hypergryph a lot, right? Because I think the way they've handled Arknights has been great. I do it a lot, right? But I'm also an adult and I understand they are a corporation and they can fuck up. And who knows what the game looks like when it launches. And we might be back here in a few months going, they fucked it, boys. They screwed it up. They done fucked it up. But man, I'll be so happy if they fix this. And if they do, I'll swipe day one. I'll swipe day one. I'll say it right now. Day one swipage if they fix the gacha acquisition. I'm going to say it here right now. If they do, I will be so happy because I think this is something that needs to change. And it was so good to hear that they've listened and saw that this is not good enough. So I really hope they have. Our team is continuously monitoring your feedback and discussions and thoroughly analysing both your survey responses and actual player data so we can identify effective solutions to address the issues you're facing. We have set aside dedicated development resources for experience tuning and will implement improvements one by one. Experience tuning, right? It's a small little, it is an experience tune, right, to upgrade the pool currency. No drastic changes, just give me more pools. Simple. However you do it, easy to do, easy to implement, right? One by one with full consideration for the balance between real-time experience and long-term gameplay. We've also put a long-term optimization mechanism in place to ensure that future versions of the game continue to see meaningful improvements to the experience, with the goal that every adjustment truly lifts the overall gameplay experience. Great to hear. I wonder if that means that maybe certain things that can't get ready for launch, we might see some tweaks, you know? Some games have not been afraid in the past to potentially, like, rewrite stuff at the start. Now, I'm not expecting necessarily a story rewrite, but around the tutorials and stuff is what I'm talking about there. We'll keep listening to your feedback and remain committed to ongoing long-term optimization, meeting your expectations with convincing, high-quality game content. Thank you to all the administrators for your continued support and understanding. For more information about the game will be later communicated through our official channels. We look forward to joining you on your adventure in exploring Talos 2 in the very near future. So, with all that worry war talk out of the way, right? Because, you know, I suppose it's a little bit of a negative painted conversation in a sense. But with the beta ending on the 29th, what do we reckon to the launch? What do we reckon to the launch, guys? When do we think it's happening? Do you think it is going to be January, or do you think we're looking at March? I feel like January is a bit too early for me personally. Maybe I'm wrong, right? I said, for me, my expectation was always probably March, right? The end of Q1. If we did get a beta, I thought it would probably be March. We have got a beta. I was right on that. I'm going to go with March. I think January might be just a little bit too early. I think January might be just a little bit too early. Because it's clear they've got some work to do on certain things, right? The game itself, it's cooked. And I don't mean it's cooked. I mean, it's the gameplay part of things, in my opinion, at least until we get additional endgame. Minus endgame and events worries, the gameplay itself, I think it's almost baked to perfection, personally. It's almost baked to perfection. So I don't think they've got to worry about that. Now all they've got to worry about is tweaks to gacha currency, what's going to happen with events. Are we getting more endgame than we've got now? Which I hope to dear Lord we do, because I think for me, there's been a lot of expectations with the Arknights community of what this game's going to be. And we've saw through conversations since before this beta and since this beta started, some people expected this game to be something else. I have always not really had that expectation because I see the game to be somewhat different. But one expectation I really do want to see come over is the endgame, right? I'm not expecting IS off the bat, right? But I want something that's going to give me the ability to keep going at it, to give me some challenge, to give me some reason to keep playing the game. That's not just grind for those few pulls, right? We're going to put timers in. We're going to artificially increase the difficulty to make it by teams. Give me something that has some replayability that I actually just want to play. Fuck the rewards. They're a bonus. But just give me something to just get into and get my teeth into that, right? So that's my main thing. The two things that I really from this beta that I will say that I want the most is more gacha resource acquisition in-game. And they spoke about that. Great to hear. And then what's endgame going to look like? Of course, as I say, I don't think we've seen all the endgame yet. This is a beta. But I hope it's more than what the game offers at the moment. And I think we'll be in a good position, lads. I think we'll be in a good position. But yeah, again, great to see they're taking feedback. I love the fact that they've mentioned the gacha resource acquisition. It's just whether they'll fix it, right? Because at least we haven't got a Yosart situation on our hands. And they're like, what? This big fucking thing with a trunk keeps bumping into me, but I can't see it really. But I'm sure it's in here, but I'm not going to mention it. So, great to see they've actually acknowledged that. Whether they fix it is a different thing. Beta ends on the 29th. We've got events coming up on the 12th. Hopefully they're good. Camera, whatever. Hopefully this Umbral monument things, or whatever it's called, is fun as well. Interesting to see there's no pool currency. We'll have to see what happens, right? We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think all about this. What are the things you want to see in the game when it launches? What's the most important thing to you? Or what's the worst thing about the beta that you want to see taken out, changed, adapted, improved upon on the game? Or what are you just hoping for on launch that's maybe not there right now? I'd love to know because, yeah, I think those are the two main important things for me. And then give me 120 FPS and give me a training spot as well to just build teams because I'd love to do that because I think Zenlist does a good job of that. Give me something like that. I'd love that. But anyway, yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think down below. Let me know, guys. Let me know.